Palm Wine Podcast. Hey, and it's a podcast.
And it's the Palm Wine Podcast. And it's the Palm Wine Podcast. And it's the Palm Wine Podcast. Yeah, and it's the Palm Wine Podcast.
Welcome to the Palm Wine Podcast. It's your boy Quakes.
It's Sahara.
And we've got two lovely guests with us today. You want to introduce yourselves?
Hello.
Yeah, who's seen her before?
Back like I never left.
Wow, boy.
We love it.
Y'all know me, Aaliyah. Hello.
And we have the wonderful
Aaron Bishop, innit? Aaron, journalist, writer, screenwriter.
Come on.
I didn't know we was doing titles like that.
Come on.
You've been before, innit? They never seen you. They know you already, man. They don't know me.
I knew we was going like, we was tooting our own horn, but okay, Aaliyah, writer, director, manager, coordinator, boss lady, entrepreneur, just all round.
Now we need to find out a way to put that on the screen.
Dot, really.
Etc.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Lovely. So before we get into the episode, we've got to do a bit of housekeeping as always. So Zahara, where can you find us on the Instagram?
So on Instagram, you can find us on Palm Wine Podcast, and on Twitter, Kweku.
Palm Wine Pod. All one word, you get me? Put it down right here below. And we also, when you want to join in with the conversation, we want you to use our hashtags, hashtag PW Podcast or hashtag Palm Wine Pod. Mm-hmm. So for this episode as well, something that we're going to do is quite new. We want to aim for about 10 likes on the video. Yeah?
Oh yeah, we could do better than that. But yeah, that's a minimum.
We'll start minimum 10 likes and about 10 comments. That's all we want to see for now. Yeah, because we're back with a bang in season 2. You get me? Bullet.
So talking of season 2, I think this time we're trying to take an angle of having a complete topic. So this season 2 is going to be concentrating on the black representation, and today's episode is the black representation in the media. Hence why we've got Aaliyah and why we've got Aaron.
So a little bit about you guys first. So we've obviously reached out to you guys to come onto the pod because we know you have extensive knowledge in the media industry. You have experience working with different outlets, working with your own production companies and your own short films, etc. So tell us a bit about that. So I'm going to go with Aaron first. Tell us a bit about what you've got going on and
So obviously we met at uni.
We
met. So I was doing journalism there, and from there I kind of focused towards music journalism, entertainment journalism, and I kind of built my career off of that. So I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and then more recently I've been I'm working on my own short film, trying to get into filmmaking.
Nice.
I came through. I don't know how deep you want to get into it.
As deep as you want, bro.
That came through lockdown, innit? So I've always wanted to do that, but in lockdown, I kind of obviously we all had time, and I kind of like, this is the time where I can actually devote time to getting into it and working out. I did like an online screenwriting course to figure out how to actually, because for me, I feel like I can write anything, bro, but it was more, how is it meant to be formatted? How is it meant to be laid out? What's the stages I meant to go through to get what I want out on the page? So did that, and I wrote a few scripts, and then some of them I liked and some of them I didn't like, and I ended up with this idea, and then I made it happen. And last year was my first short film, which I proper made out of my own pocket and everything, and yeah, that's where we're at.
Can we be cheeky here and ask what the short film's about?
Yeah,
or is it under wraps?
No. We can talk about it, man. So it's about so the short version of it is there's 3 friends. One goes missing, and the other 2 have to figure out what happened to him. And there's a lot of twists and turns. Secrets get revealed. It's a thriller, man. It's a crime thriller. That's kind of the genre. So
that's my genre. There. Give me like a young Line of Duty or something like that. I'm involved. Yeah, that's me.
So yeah, that's that, man. And when's this coming out?
So next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so we'll next 2 weeks. So we'll give you the heads up.
Okay. So this is I applied for a couple film festivals and stuff like that. So hopefully it won't know by then, but hopefully we'll get some selections in there, and yeah, man, we're pushing as much as I can.
Luck, man.
So
thank you.
You got our support. That's the one thing. You've got our support too, man.
Love
for that. Thank you, bro.
The angle for Aaliyah, because Aaliyah's already introduced herself. I want to ask her to give us an update where are you now since we've last seen you? Because I think you came maybe May or June.
Was it? Oh my
Was
God,
it?
that
Yeah.
Are you sure it was June?
Yeah.
No, surely it was like July.
Well, regardless.
It was summer. It was summer.
It's
It was
been a
sometime in the
while.
summer.
Regardless, yeah.
I'm even like, yeah.
Yeah,
time.
so
Wow.
when we last saw you, we
What did
went.
I say?
It was History on the Road, which Kwaku
Yeah.
and I came to see.
Yeah.
As well, which was absolutely amazing. So yeah, where are
Award-winning.
you? Yeah, where are you now?
Good. Wow, where am I now? You know, I'm just, figuring it out. But yeah, I'm doing all right. We've moved a bit from, we're excelling in theatre, so I'm still working in theatre, but also dabbling into film as well, because film is where the
Bag.
action is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hear it.
yeah, going into that, done a few music videos, just really expanding my horizon as a director and as a writer, and just putting myself out there a bit more. As we know, the industry is not easy, but I'm like happily just trial and error right now. That's what I would
that's the
say.
best thing to do,
I'm just going for literally every avenue as a director I can do. I'm just gonna try it out and then see where it takes you.
Can I just say as well, yeah, like, I mean, we have these talks all the time, but like even bad experiences are still experiences. Do you know what I mean? You still learn.
Exactly.
So obviously you're saying trial and error, even the ones that maybe don't go as well, you're still learning stuff from it. Like, you know what to do, not to do. Like, do you know what I
That
mean?
kind of thing.
So-
Do you know what? That's a good point, because I realized that obviously I've known you guys since uni times, right?
Let's say when
I was what we're not gonna do.
ages out.
What we're not gonna do is that, right? Not gonna do that. But I've seen a lot of both of your growths from either being directly involved in it or just being like an observer. And how difficult has it been for you guys to get your foot in the door? Just because, how difficult has it been? You know?
I mean, for me, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it wasn't that difficult. Purely because when I was at uni, I already kind of had an idea of what I was trying to do. So I was already like laying down tracks or like doing stuff that I knew would help me once I finished uni. Do you know what I mean? So once I finished uni, I already had like a portfolio of stuff that I'd done of my own back. Like, I'd done interviews with like Nux and like DC, like before they blew, do you know what I mean? Because that's just because I was a fan of them from before. So there's people that I'd like reached out to and done interviews with on my own. I'd already written for a few companies like Guap Mag. I was writing for them when they first started. When I was back at uni, I did some work experience at NME back at uni. So when I finished uni, I had my degree and I had a portfolio, so I could reach out to like different places and be like, yo, this is what I've done so far. Can you give me opportunity to work with you? Do you know what I mean? So I was at Complex like a month or 2 months or whatever it was after we graduated. Yeah. So so for me, it wasn't that hard because all I needed was the opportunity. I knew myself, once I had the opportunity,
you're flying. Yeah.
So yeah.
Listen, don't be humble, bro. Don't be humble. Don't do it.
That's good though. That's good. Aaliyah.
Well, for me, it wasn't as smooth. But do you know what? I say it wasn't smooth, but it kind of a bit 50-50 because I was all really engrossed into like the creative arts in uni. That was just what I was always doing. It was just which avenue am I gonna go for first? Because a lot of creatives, like, they might be like, oh yeah, I'm an actor, but they've definitely got the skill of like a director or a writer or or even a producer. So it was just which one am I gonna go for that will help me get there, and then I'll work on everything else. You know. So for me, I think it was like I never even like planned on being a director. Like, it wasn't really. I was always like, actor. Like, actor. And I thought I would write as well. I thought I would be a writer. No, I thought I'd be an actor that writes. And then just, I started writing more stuff, and then I realised that no one's getting the vision on the directing side.
They're not catching it.
They're just, I don't know, it wasn't terrible, but they just wasn't seeing the imagery that I had in my head, and I just thought, okay, let me just give it a go.
Just give it a go.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's just been going, you know? So yeah, I think for me, it was just finding what my niche was, because I was trying acting and that wasn't going terribly, but it wasn't like I ain't have an Oscar yet. So, you know, like so it was a bit like it's hard. So it was like meaty, but then I started writing and I really enjoyed writing. But then it was like the whole idea of, okay, I've written something, I think it's amazing, but how am I gonna get it anywhere? Like who's even gonna care about it? And I spent time writing so many. I've got probably so many like random shorts or random scripts that I just send. You guys will know because I'm not ever sending these scripts, but like random things that I've just written, and then it's not even, nothing's even become of it. Even to a point with that film last year, I went as to film a short film, and because I just didn't feel it, I was like, forget it. And we literally spent a whole day filming, but because I'm just passionate about putting out quality work, I was just like, nah, if this is not gonna like.
But I personally like that though, because I feel like if you're gonna do it properly. I feel sometimes people, even people who have made it, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna put this out anyway because of the status I carry now, because of what I've done already. But then you might watch it or whatever it is, or see the art, and you're like, no, this isn't as good as before. You've gone left, etc. So I feel like it's important to try and keep the same amount of standard that you aspire to have. The moment you let it slip, you can lose fans. Things can go left. People don't want to work with you anymore. Things like that. So I think I do like that though.
But do you know what as well? Like even on a smaller level, like it's sharpening your pen. Like like when you, because Aaliyah is so hard on herself. Obviously, like you as well. She's so hard on herself, and I get it as well because my friends told me the same thing about me. But it's like obviously with someone else you can see it a bit more clearer. But like if you're writing loads of scripts and even if you don't put them out, you're sharpening your pen. Like J. Cole, like I remember his interview I watched and he was saying like he writes every day. Every day he wakes up and he will just write whatever the first thing comes to his head. He'll write it on a page. Doesn't have to rhyme. Doesn't have to do anything. Just writes it just so he can get used to getting his ideas from his head onto the page. So just write that. Just write. And the more you write, the easier that process becomes. So it's just like drills. And even us on set, like even if we didn't put out the film, being on set, learning how to direct your actors, like it's you're getting into the mode of it. Do you know what I mean? You're getting experience just by doing it, even if it doesn't
come out. Do you know what? That's interesting because I feel like the repetition of it is what is building the word just left my mind. That's there's no word of the week today, boy, because it's gone. But the repetition builds the experience, and the experience builds the growth. Do you know what I mean? You can't expect to grow if you're not doing.
That's it.
You know, the experience is founding. I remember I saw it on one tweet a few weeks ago. The experience is founding the doing. You're not gonna get experience waiting. You get experience waiting, but you won't get experience with what you want to go for, innit? And I think that's very key. That's very key. And like as I said, from where you guys have come from and where you guys are now, like it's just the beginning, innit? And I'm proud of both of you.
Amen.
You know,
I love, bro.
You know what you gotta do, bro. You know what you gotta do. So onto the main topic, and again, we're gonna just plug it as well. Make sure you subscribe, you like all of our content. Make sure you follow us again on our socials. That is at Palm Wine Pod on Twitter. Yeah, I did that one right for now. And at Palm Wine Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you use the hashtags #PW Podcast and hashtag.
Tug.
Wow, German. You chose tag, yeah? Hashtag
bilingual. Bilingual quick.
Come on, you know how we do, you know? Not just one language, you know?
That is the word of the day.
Listen, hashtag, yeah? Palm Wine Pod. Cool.
Oh, gosh.
So, alright, cool. So, for the main... first of all, thank you for giving us a bit of background about yourself. I think the people that will be watching this would definitely, if they haven't started looking into a media career or a career in media, they definitely will because of your experience and stuff like that. Okay. So, into the main part of the pod. So what is I've got a couple of questions as well, and I think Sahara does too. But the first thing I'm going to say is, what is your take on how black people are portrayed in like slavery films? Or films and the media in general, because I think that portrayal has such a massive impact on how the community views itself. So let's start on the slaveries first and see where you go with their like 12 years a slave, underground, all of that.
Yeah, I'm a star.
Everyone's re-analysing, rejigging, boy. This one.
I just got a question, innit, for you.
Oh, God.
Before I don't know if you had the answer for that. But I was just going to say, you said you feel like it has a big effect on how the community sees
Yeah.
themselves. Like, what do you think that is?
So how we're portrayed in media, first and foremost, I think. Ooh, it's tight. So a lot of the TV shows that we see, yeah, there's barely any positive representation as there was probably in like the 2000s, right? If we look at, obviously, I'm not even going to be our ages in it because it's time, but if we look at early 2000s, late 90s, right, you had shows like Proud Family, you had The Trouble Network, yeah. Which had the big ones, My Wife and Kids, One on One,
Was Fresh Prince on it?
Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
How can I forget Fresh Prince?
Yeah.
Fresh Prince was on it.
One on One, My Wife and Kids, Fresh Prince, Everybody Hates Chris. Like those, especially My Wife and Kids, to me, that shows, that defeats that demographic, that single parent households, that black people, they only have one parent in their lives.
Yeah, the
There's
dad
not
ran
a
away.
nuclear family. The dad went to the shop and never came back. went to
the
go
shop.
went to go get milk and never returned. But like sorry, it's not funny, but like it dispels that notion that you can't have a healthy, that black people do not have healthy families. And even in One on One, I think it was Brianna's dad, Flex Washington, right? As much as he was a single dad, it also shows that it's not always the single mothers. There are also single fathers. And it also shows the importance of a positive male role model in Brianna's life, you know? Before I start talking for England, that's my 2 pence on that one.
Real. I think what's sad about that as well is that those are all American shows.
Right, see?
Yeah.
I think the only one I can think of in terms of English is Desmond's.
How can I forget Desmond's?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. I can't think of one. If it comes to mind again, I'll say it. There was one. There was Meet the Ade somethings as well.
Ade
That's
Banjos.
it. Yeah, there was that. But I'm trying to think. There wasn't many. I think the reason even for that question as well is almost why is it only why are we only able to or picked for, oh, we're going to do a historic period film, the slave, the maid, the servant, or things like that. I love the whole thing of the James Bond is now going to, or the Bond series is now going to go into a black female. They're now apparently thinking, or Idris Elba's in the line to perhaps take over from that. But there was a whole uproar with, we call it a black person being Bond.
I agree with that, you know.
And
I can't lie. I agree with that uproar. To be fair,
I don't want a black Bond, but to not segue, to stick with, say, again, we could go way into that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. For me, I think this is why even like Tyler Perry I think it's Tyler Perry that had his own studio now.
Yeah, it's like 1 billion.
Like I like that because I think the reason when we talk about why is it always slave films and stuff is because the big budget films are from the studios, isn't it? So and the studios are run by
white people.
The white people. So they decide what they put the money into.
That's true.
Which is why like ownership is important, isn't it? And why if we're the ones that are putting up the money as black people to make these projects, then we can decide what projects get made. I think Get Out, and what Jordan Peele did with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it kind of shed a light on race relations and stuff like that. But obviously, we're talking about family and those kind of things, and especially in the UK, we don't really have anything that shows that. But obviously, we have the talent in terms of actors. We have the talent in terms of directors, in terms of all the parts that we need. And obviously, representation has become now a big thing. So there's no reason why in the future that couldn't be more of a thing. But yeah, it's sad, isn't it? Let me step back.
I've got a bit of a follow up from what you said. Did you have anything before you?
I feel like you said a lot. I mean, I think just jumping off of the idea of like it's always American culture. America's massive, for one. So they're gonna have little. I mean, I'm not trying to go into American slave history, but they're always gonna have like, you know, there's big communities in Atlanta and like there's places like LA and Hollywood like that really focus on the black narrative, which is why it's unfortunate that a lot of our really great actors here have to go there to even get the recognition that they actually deserve. Like, as much as the UK is very small, we actually have a massive impact. Like, one thing that I actually I was talking to my mum about the other day, is that every country has an Independence Day because they're free from this place. Like,
Yeah, no,
this
it's
little
true.
country,
It's true.
this little country had power over so many places. So it just shows you how much of an impact we can actually have on the world. So when I think about the media and like just the creative industry as a whole, like there's so much we can do here, but it's about whether people, like there's people, they don't really want to. You know, like they're not ready for the Black British narrative. It's everyone's very happy to go, like, because, you know, there's a, like, what's that song called? There's basically, like, there's so, like, I don't want to say the N-word,
But yeah.
you seen that thing of what Kanye said, why the song is called N in Paris?
Yeah,
Them in Paris back in
Yeah.
the day, you know, like, and it's like there's always the story of like, oh yeah, we can't have people in Downton Abbey because there wasn't Black people. Are you mad?
Can you imagine?
So where was we?
I think that's why
We wasn't-
I watched Bridgerton.
Yeah, it's great
Because I like the fact that the Queen was black,
yeah,
and then we call it the
Actually,
tall,
need to
dark,
watch
and
that,
handsome. Even though he was mixed race, but at least you know what I mean.
We'll take
exactly
what we can get, really.
What we can.
While
But
it's here.
honestly, I think that's why I actually went and made an effort to watch Bridgerton, and it actually ended up being actually alright. So you know what I mean. But
I think, sorry,
Yeah,
just
no,
to add
go
on, with Bridgerton as well, it was just a narrative for a narrative's sake.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one thing that I think the UK British scene needs to get on board with, is like, we don't need to tell Black stories as like, oh, about the knife crime and the gun crime,
yeah.
or about slavery. There can just be a story about a family and the actors just so happen to be Black.
yeah,
The same
I know,
way there's 100 stories where the actors are just white.
Yeah.
You can literally have a story about, I don't know, a postman, but the postman's Black. It's not even nothing to do with, oh, the postman's Black, but he's a yardie postman. And he's from yards. Like, it doesn't even need to be that. He can just be
true. I get what
not
you mean, I get what you mean.
Patrick. He can just be Patrick.
Yeah.
Or he can just be Pat.
Yeah.
From
Oluwafemi.
not Oluwa Patrick.
Oluwa Patrick. Oluwa.
Just a narrative that just so happens to have a Black character.
It's true. No, I completely agree with what you said. I want to touch on something you've both mentioned about America and the industry over there. Aaliyah, you mentioned the Brits having to go over there as well. So now the Americans are complaining because the British are getting
their
the buzz.
jobs.
And that was I don't know when it was. I'm sure it was
It was
just
Get
before
Out time
Christmas. Yeah.
As well.
Oh,
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah, again,
Kaluuya
People had a
and-
problem
Yeah,
with
so
it.
there's a
It's
lot.
been- It's been a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, sorry, sorry to cut you off there, but it's just interesting because have you lot been watching Power Book 2?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Do you know Professor Milgram?
She's English. Yeah,
She's
yeah.
British. She's British.
I didn't know.
She's
Be
British.
surprised how many Brits are in the States, you know.
Like, obviously, this is a bit of a segue, but if you look at things like Benedict Cumberbatch being Doctor Strange, in the Marvel universe, you've got
I'm Wong.
Benedict Wong is Wong, British actors. Wong was in Top Boy.
Top boy.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Top Boy. And you look at
Why am I laughing? Sorry. I just remembered this character.
like even like obviously we're talking about Black representation here, but you see how much British influences are in mainstream media. Letitia Wright, you know, British actress.
British Guyanese from.
British Guyanese
Yeah,
actress, you know. I have to put that in there. You look at John Boyega, went to my school still. Shameless plug. But all of those talented actors are not getting the recognition at home. And I don't know, I'm not in the industry, but from the outside looking in, surely you would want to retain that talent as much as possible, because a lot of people are looking towards British talents being siphoned into America, into probably just America, but into like other countries. So yeah, what's your take on that? Like,
I think the UK gives us recognition once we've gone to America.
Yes,
I was gonna
yes,
say
yes.
that,
I
You know,
completely agree.
it's like once other people are like, oh no, that person's actually good. Then they're
Yeah.
British born.
Yeah. All of a
this
sudden they're winning
MB
Brit Awards.
here.
Yeah. No,
Dame
it's true.
this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they need to start just recognizing the talent while it's here, because, like I said, we can make so much influence on the world if we're given opportunities.
But again,
and that's,
I was gonna say again, it just comes back to ownership for me anyway, and that's why like we talk about all these people. Amal Amin, he had to go to America and do his thing there. All the people we mentioned, but then you see Daniel Kaluuya, for example, not Daniel Kaluuya, John
Boyega.
Yeah, so he's obviously come back now. He's actually done like worked with Converse to work with I think like 4 or 5 filmmakers and do like projects with them and get them into industry spaces and stuff. So it's like, and even John Boyega, he used his Star Wars money to set up his own production company. So it's like these people that we're talking about, they had to go to America, but now they're using that to come back and then help young and up and coming Black British directors, actors, whatever, to come and come through. So
I think I need to counter argue with you that just a little bit.
Oh, go for it.
Just because, do you know what? Some of them are doing that, but another issue that I think comes with Black creatives in the industry is that they don't. Like, once they get to the top, it's like, okay, cool, I'm here.
You're comfortable, yeah.
And I'm staying there because, one, it could be because they're afraid, which is very possible because sometimes you get into... There's been rooms that I've been in where I thought, wow, what am I doing here? And you do feel a bit intimidated by it, but then that doesn't mean that you should be scared and be like, okay, I've made it, so that's enough. What we have to do in order for us to get a wider... like more up and coming people of colour in the rooms is to keep bringing people on. Like, a lot of our industry, I think you'll agree, is to do with referral. It really is a big who you know, which is so annoying. Like, I think I read somewhere that 58% of the BBC is like Paul's auntie's son on this person.
Yeah,
like,
no,
do you know,
it is.
like,
It's true.
It all comes from like their
you
like
need to know
family
somebody,
or like, you know,
friend of a friend.
It does happen. I think it happens a lot in law as well, and like solicitors and stuff like that. This where who you know can give you opportunity, but what?
Life,
Just don't what you know. It's
who you know, and if we don't just like get up to the top and just be like, yeah, I've made it, and that's fine. That's not going to change anything. We have to bring other people in and bring like, what's the there's food for everyone. What's the thing? Like
everybody can eat.
Everybody can eat.
Yeah,
have a seat at the table.
Come to the table.
There's so much, especially because there's like, and this is another thing. Like, you know, a lot of the media will like misname people. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, the Star Wars film that Danson Idris was in. Like, and we'll know. That's not the same person.
Did you see that
but
with,
do you see them?
Benjamin Mendy and
they do that.
That happens so much, and they don't do that.
That it irks me. I feel like when they're there and they'll be like, oh, bing, ba, bing, and it's gabenga or something like that. Yeah. And but then you can pronounce, you know what I mean, Hororowitz or whatever. You know what I mean? Well, whatever the name is, or Schwarzenegger or whatever, without stuttering. It's the same thing. Break the name down like you break down that one, which has 5 more syllables than that, and we call it has different letters, a Z and a C next to each other. So how do you pronounce that? I think for me it's a bit ignorant, and I feel like it's also trying to put you down. I think I also agree with whose point was it? Aaron's point regarding making sure it goes back to organisations. I also agree with your point that I feel like loads of people also once they make it, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be the token Black person for this area. And then also, I feel like, but going back to your point, or both of your points, if you merge them, I feel like it'll be like, you know what I mean? We made it, literally, if that was the way it happened, like everybody's chaining around, hand in hand, you know what I mean? You got the camera, you got the mic, this person's the actor, actress. Like,
you know what? Like, it is difficult. Like, obviously, there are some people, like, cause you know, you're more in the film industry or been in more rooms than me. I'm very new to that side of things. But like once you make it, not everyone wants to be that guy that's like, I'm the leader of the pack. You know what I mean? Sometimes a man just loves to act. He's chasing his dream. He's happened to make it in a big film show, whatever, and that's just happens to be where he's at. He doesn't actually want to be like, I didn't ask for this responsibility kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got their own path. Everyone's got their own like mindset, their own objectives of what they want to achieve out of it. So, like I say, when I use John Baker as an example of what he's doing, but he might feel that responsibility. Obviously, we saw him at Black Lives Matter and this.
He
generally
his platform,
wants to use his platform. But some people just just want their bread and
Yeah.
They just want the bag.
There
They
is.
just
I feel like
want
it's
the bag.
unfortunate because I
So
feel
we
like
can't
even
hate
if
on them for that. Like, that's just what.
yeah,
it is.
I feel like even if what you call it, you don't want to be the front runner. Be at the back and say, "Oh yeah, this person's good" or something.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. So you don't always have
But
to
they
be
might
the
be
first
doing
in the
that. We
line.
would never know. Do you know what I mean?
It's
They may be
true.
doing
It's
that.
true.
You don't know what happens behind
We
closed
never,
doors,
we might
boy.
never know.
But yeah,
yeah,
I think as well in terms of the organizations and having our own stuff in order to represent ourselves the way we do, a lot of the music or media, reality TV shows, Love and Hip Hop left. Real Housewives in terms of the black enterprises is gone left.
What happened to that?
It's still going, but it's becoming a bit more ratchet now. All they do is fight. Before it was like, oh, we're the black rich women and of Atlanta, and now it's kind of like, no, you slept with a stripper. What is going on? But that honestly, no, that was the last one
it was.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They
not.
were just like,
But
yeah.
this when it came
I'm
out
actually for the
season one,
culture,
it was
though.
good. Yeah, for the cult.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I'm trying to see what's happening because it's like now they're getting YouTubers in it, and I feel like there's this whole thing. The network is confused because that's another thing, but that's a bit different. You're now you're black, but now you're getting old.
Right.
You know what I mean? No. Let's be real. I think Nene was over 50. Cynthia was over 50. All of them they're starting to go over the line, and the ones that are starting to leave now are the ones that are older or just don't want to smoke. Just don't want to smoke anymore. But I think for me, again, those organizations, to get to my point, are fueling that narrative. And then you've got people who, I think I started watching Housewives when I was as a teen, but I feel like I know how to filter the nonsense out. That's not how I've been raised. But for some people, and it's I don't know, City Girls, everyone's saying period, for example, and that got flashed. Yeah, but it's that type of similar thing. And then you put money into that, and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be this ghetto fabulous. I don't like that word, but yeah, person, and that's the only way you're gonna make it. If you're going to be a musician, you need to have dreads and a chain and a ring on your pinky. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. But then people are...
So my pinky ring's coming in the next
Lord,
3 to 5 working days.
But you kind of like, you're kind of put in a box. You can only be a slave. You can only be half naked. You must have weave down to your ankles. Social media now, the pumped lips.
Oh,
The BBLs, they're all features that growing up, well, myself and Aaliyah would be able to, we probably were looked at or picked on or had snide comments, and now everybody is embracing it. That's not even from the culture. So I think,
If I'm to start, do you know, it's so funny. Like you just reminded me of something.
Wait.
When I was in primary school, I remember, because obviously my heritage is Caribbean and African.
yeah.
When I was younger, I remember one time my mum had camered my hair back. Cash. Normal camered.
No.
Imagine, and this goes out to you, Daniel, because I remember it was you.
Oh no!
She
I'm
name
bringing
dropped.
it up after 20 years.
She name dropped in public.
Imagine he came
The
up to
economy
me.
is tight.
He come up to me and he was like to me,
Shame
Aaliyah,
on you, Daniel.
you know, let me tell you what he said. He said, Aaliyah, how come you've got the same hairstyle as Beckham?
That is
So
why.
Beckham is the one.
So
Beckham is the
pioneer.
one who is. He started cameras, and this is where I have to draw the line.
I feel like though if
No,
that
but-
happened now, he would have got cultural appropriation.
Because
But back
100%.
then he was like, oh, he's snazzy, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like it was back then, you know, oh, he just keeps up with the trends and that. But now I feel like he would have got grilled.
To be fair, I think I feel so wrong for saying this, but you know that I remember when it was like Kim K, she had all of her braids, and the whole of my timeline were like cultural appropriation. She just wants to do it because she's with Kanye. All of that, and it sort of begs the question: what is a safe space for? I'll say black women as well. I'll make it more specific for black women to just exist. Like with their, hairstyles, body types, figures, all of that stuff, without it being like
A trend.
without it being like, oh, well, you have to look like this, you have to have this type of figure to then be, what's the word I'm looking for? Attractive, you know? And even for the men, like the men is if you're not in the gym looking like Simeon Panda, yeah, and your biceps are not bulging through your top, like you're not.
You have to be 6 foot or
6
something.
foot.
Yeah.
You're 6 foot, like you said, the 6'7" basketballer or athlete and all of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
Shut the please.
My bad. Do you know what though? Yeah.
You okay?
No.
Nope.
Help
Nope.
him.
you had to put that at the back.
Yeah, it's probably there to wait.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Back.
Technical difficulties.
do you know what though? Like, who's like for me, and this might be, I don't know, this might come across as ignorant or like maybe because I feel I'm very comfortable in my own skin, always have been, in it. So it's like who makes these rules from? Like who's to say that if I go gym and I have big biceps that I'm more attractive than a man who eats McDonald's every day? Like, fam, who makes these rules from? Like, I've never like.
Society.
I feel like
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I feel like if that's why I love people that kind of just do them. I always love that person that's maybe a bit to
Quirky.
everyone else quirky, weird, whatever.
Quirky,
like
I love that
I love them people because it's like you're living your truth. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you're matching the leopard print with the purple jumper, and you don't care what anyone else thinks. Like I love them people because it's like you're just doing you. Like who's there's someone that will find that attractive, like that will like that. Like I just think like if you live your truth and do what's best, what is right for you and what and that's easier said than done for some people because some people would care about what other people think. But I've never
focused on that.
I've never really, as long as it's right for me and it's what I want to do, and it's like then that's what isn't it?
Do you know what? I agree with that because I do think just living in London, like how are we not going to be influenced by the multitude of cultures that we have here? Like how it is physically impossible for us to do it. Like there's tons of like things that we embrace in the Black community that, you know, it might not be stereotypically what we've grown up on, but because of where we live and where we're from, it should be fine. I think you just have to like there's appropriation and then there's what's the word? Like inspiration to a degree. Because I'm not agreeing with every decision some people have made in order to, I don't want to call it like hate urban, but urbanize themselves. You know, hate the word urban. Like
that ain't ghetto, but that one.
Yeah, like that words. Because
I'd rather hear ghetto than urban, you know.
Because that's,
No, I completely agree with you. I think for me, like what Kwaku mentioned, I feel like for me, it's the people who are genuinely racist as well. And they are inspired at first, but then they culturally appropriate and then go with their orange self and now their pump lip, the floater lips, and then come to call me the N-word. And it's like, don't do that. You're there, your butt is on the sink for the picture.
But you know what?
Don't. That's what I don't like.
Twirling like a kebab boy.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
That's what
I feel like
irks me.
There's nuances to this conversation. Like there's so many nuances, but even with that, like if that exact description that you described then comes and calls you the N-word, that's from a place of ignorance, isn't it?
Of course.
So then for me,
Beyond.
personally, this is again, I can only speak for myself in them kind of situations. I've got so much dreams and ambition that's above London, above everything I do is bigger than me. Like I don't do anything I do for me. It's for my family or to push the culture or whatever. Like I feel like that the talent or the ability that I have has so much potential to do more than to be arguing with someone or that's ignorant like that. So it's kind of just like sometimes you just gotta leave people with their ignorance and like some people, unless they want to be educated, you can't educate them.
Of course, yeah. So there's no waste your time as well.
You do you because they're gonna be
shake
stuck
the sand off your sandals and walk to the next house.
Because what's that saying? Is that saying it's like if you argue with a fool, people from a distance can't tell the difference.
That's
you know
true.
What I'm saying?
Proverbs, boy.
If you sit and argue with them, no one can tell who's right, who's wrong. You're with two idiots arguing with each other. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like cool. You just got to kind of just stick to
choose the battles.
Yeah.
I think one of the last topics before we wrap up, actually, we've all watched Love Island and things like Too Hot to Handle and things like that. Well, I haven't watched Too Hot to Handle. It was like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
No, bro, it's alright, man.
We were talking about it the other day. What do you mean?
With the French guy.
Excuse me? What are you talking about? You trying to throw me under the bus? Listen, I got a reputation to maintain, you know. No, I'm joking. But I feel like, especially when it comes to shows like Love Island, yes, in particular, there is a massive underrepresentation of black people. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to say it as it is. You look at the last 2 to 3 years, yeah, there's been probably like 2, maybe 3, or maybe maximum 4 black people in that, or even people of color, black people of color, right, in those seasons. And I think, personally for me, I'm just a bit appalled because
In Love Island?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Let's
There's about 2 though.
Who? Remember that season with Michael? We had
That was the most representation.
There were Michael, Josh. Was it Josh?
No, that was the Josh and that were the one before.
No. So there was, but I'm telling. Well, maybe
there was a few in that one. There was like.
There was
anyway, yeah.
No, but I'm in comparison to this is even the debate, but in comparison to the rest of the cast, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You will see. I think that season you was talking about, you had Michael, Leanne, Priscilla. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No. I mean Michael. That was with
Amber season. Yeah. But I hear that. But there's still in comparison to the rest of the cast members, you would have more of your British or your Essex or your Manchesters, your Birminghams, and like white British men and women, as opposed to your ethnic or black British men and women. Like, I remember that season you're talking about, or was it the season afterwards where they had Shawnice and Luke T and all of that stuff? Yeah, the distribution of like people of color was just very small. From what I remember, or maybe I'm just being ignorant, but
even the early seasons of Love Island, there weren't really that many black people.
Exactly.
No, I think for me though, it goes back to the fact, or I'm gonna echo what Aaron was saying before, is you're going on a show that has probably predominantly white. It's probably made by a white person. It's the ITV is owned by a white person, so of course that's gonna be the whole thing that's put onto the show. So when we go into stuff like that, I always hate when they do the lineup and you get to choose who you want to do at the beginning, because you're sitting there and my heart always goes out for the poor white black girl who they all see her, oh yeah, they all look pretty and and even when that girl might be the only one last to choose, they still try and take off another person from a white girl that's there. So I think for me, it goes to say make, I don't know, Black Island or no, for real. But I think honestly, it would be absolutely hilarious. You know what I mean? If they can do it, so can we. And if they want to, there's obviously as well people who, like you both mentioned before, who appreciate our culture as well, who aren't offensive and generally know the stigmas and trials and tribulations that we go through as well. I think we even met somebody at your event the other day who was like, oh, this guy can come to the cookout, you know what I mean? That he was cool. So
shout out Luke, you know. If you're watching this, Luke, shout you out, bro. Shout you out.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated.
Yeah. So, but you know what I mean? But for me, it's those that like, we need to do it for ourselves and we need to put out a narrative. We need to tell people this is who we are. And I feel like the last, when did TV come out? Let's say 60, 70 years where there's been colour TV anyway. It's them that's been in charge. So I feel like we need to, Tyler Perry might be one of you two, so Tylisha maybe, or Tyler Perry. So of the UK that comes here to run things. I feel like somebody just needs to take the step. I might have to get involved.
Yeah, but you know, we had to I feel like they were trying to do something like this, Backchat. Mm-hmm. I feel like Backchat were trying to do their whole little network because now it's Trend Central, because they had they had Backchat on there. They
Yeah.
had
Zizi Mills
they had
show.
Zizi Mills is on that same
Yeah.
channel.
On topic.
Like, they're trying to do
But then,
their network.
even
thing.
with Backchat, I feel like sometimes then there's
That
always
went left as well.
that went left. But I feel like again, there's probably, from what I can gather, jealousy. There's been an argument, and for you to be as petty as to ruin or try and ruin what somebody's trying to build is ridiculous. I feel like that's another thing, and it goes back to saying there can only be one person at the table again. And it's kind of like, okay, you ain't gonna ride with me, or I ain't gonna ride with you anymore. I have to try and remove you from where you are. I feel like it's stupid.
But you know what? Like, I don't even think that's necessarily like a black thing. Like that's a
it happens.
a human
across.
thing. Like not everyone's got clean hearts. Do you know what I mean? So, and not everyone. People might have like a vision for something, but they don't necessarily go the right way about doing it. So, like we have, like I say, Trend Central. We don't know the ins and outs. I'm not even going to sit and comment.
Yeah.
All I know is that clearly they're trying to do a thing. They're trying to build something there. Yeah. And there's definitely even if someone else is watching it and they can see what they're trying to do, it's showing that it's possible. Like that possibility is there. Like you never
I
know.
completely agree with you. I think it just hurts more when it's our stuff, and I feel like you notice it more when it's our stuff because it's so few. So I think. Yeah, it's definitely not, and it shouldn't be ever stereotyped as a black thing because it happens in the Jewish community, it happens in the European community, everything. Everybody's the backstabbers, the friend with the knife behind their back, or bringing a gun to a knife fight or whatever it is, knife to a gunfight, whatever the saying is. But I feel like it just hurts. It hurts when it's ours because it's kind of like, come on, like we're trying to build, everyone else is building around us and we're still very behind. I feel like we're starting to wake up. I feel like our generation is very proactive. We're definitely more outspoken about this is one thing being wrong, something being right, and what's the best thing to do. So I feel like we just need to continue. I'm very optimistic to see where we are in 10 years' time and seeing what the world looks like in terms of media and black representation, etc.
No, I completely agree with that. I think, especially coming from my industry, I feel like even looking back on like music videos 10 years ago that we thought banged, they look so dead to me now. I'm like, sometimes I'll look back on like old videos and think like for research purposes and I'll be like, wow,
we thought this was kicking back
this
in the
was
day.
hard. But that just shows you how the creative industry is forever evolving.
Yeah.
We're always like unconsciously and unbiasedly looking for the next best thing. And so the more we keep trial and error and keep like pushing ourselves through, the more we'll somewhat, if I'm honest, I don't think necessarily like cultural equality will be seen in our lifetime. If that's mad morbid, I'm so sorry. Because I just feel like there's still so much to go. We are getting there, but we are very much brushing the surfaces.
Do you know what it is? Sorry, bro.
That's fine.
A lot of it is token stuff. Like you see the Black Lives Matter, then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we need to get black people
what's
here.
popping at the time.
It's very like
surface level. And I even said this at the time, and when the George Floyd stuff happened, I had a post. It's still on my page, but it's like I said I hope that it's not just a surface level thing, and that it's actual thing. And it definitely, to me, it was.
It was.
Absolutely. Like even just sorry to add, but you know all them companies that was there with their black box. Is it archived now?
And the 4 black post boxes that the UK did.
You know?
And then stereotypically, they made sure one was in Brixton.
but
that killed me.
But you know what as well, not even to get political with it, but like it stems from the leader of the country. We see what's happening with Boris. Like he's a representation of the country. Like you see the amount of lies that he tells, and then or the amount of crimes this man commits. And no one's gone to jail. Grenfell, no one's gone to jail. Like,
and they're still 4 years later.
They're still in power. They're still getting their payday they're still taking expenses from the taxpayer. Like it stems from that's a representation of our country. Yeah. Whether we like it or not, that's what it is. So if that's what's happening at that level, then of course the entertainment industry or whatever is going to be the same.
So we'll leave that one there. Thank you, Aaliyah and Aaron, for coming through. We really, really appreciate you having you on the show today. Let us know where we can find you.
You can find me on the gram at Aaliyah McKay.
You can find me on all socials at Ambish, AMB1SH.
Lovely. Yeah, we just make sure you guys follow each other. You know, make sure you guys follow Aaron and Aaliyah because you know they've got great content coming out.
If you're interested in creativity and everything, just make sure you're following them
and support black-owned businesses.
Absolutely.
Continue
Hashtag
to, if you are the young.
PW podcast.
You love it. But yeah, no, obviously I've been Kwaku.
I've been Sahara.
And it's been the Palm Wine Podcast.